Just how is King Dollar doing in terms of its global reserve currency status? Hello, this is Chart GPT today. You know, there's been a lot of talk over the last year or so, and with all the inflation, that maybe the dollar would lose its hegemony and not become the global currency reserve status position as it's had for quite some time now. And so we thought we'd take a look at that and what's the likelihood of that happening anytime soon. A lot of people have been having a lot of consternation on this issue. First, let's take a look at the global reserve currency statuses and how they have gone over the last, say, several decades. And you can see here in this chart that the dollar is still king here, and of course that was the advent of the euro. Of course that came about from other currencies. The Deutschmark was a big one, pound sterling and Japanese yen, and you can see that for the most part for 20 years it had a little dip here in during the financial crisis, but for the most part it's been pretty flat over the last 20 years. And so some people think, well, but that's going to change. Will it? Well, let's take a look at some other data here. Here's the US hegemony in terms of euro, yen, pound, and renminbi, and you can see that by far the dollar has the lead position in terms of the hegemony. It has come down from maybe the up 66% of the global reserve status down to 60, so it has maybe lost 10% of its luster. Been very few currencies coming up. Euro has come pretty flat over the last say 6, 7, 8 years, so there hasn't been a huge change. Still the dollar is the only game in town. But here's a chart I want to draw your attention to. This comes out of Bloomberg, and the widening gap, it's been fairly dramatic actually, from about the 40% down to closer to 22%. So it's lost a huge percentage just in the last bit here. So that indicates there's something going on in the Eurozone. Of course we know it's in a technical recession there, of course, with the Ukraine's issues and the risk going on in Europe. That actually has boosted the dollar in terms of its pricing, in terms of its usage, etc., etc., etc. So regardless of what people say about it, it certainly doesn't show in the charts. Of course, past performance isn't necessarily future performance. Taking a look at specific currencies here, here's the Japanese yen. An interesting thing here, the yen has been fairly strong, for almost 20, 30 years. It's been basing for a long time, for about 20 years, and I think that's about ready to change. It's kind of made this, the cup is kind of a U pattern, so I think we're going to see the yen begin to drop dramatically. Of course, it's been, over the last 20 years, it's been pumping their economy, and I think a lot of those printed yen are going to come to haunt it. Of course, going up means the currency is actually going down. That's USD relative to the Japanese yen, so it's kind of inverse. So as it goes up, that's weakening yen. So that shows you on a long-term basis, I think the yen is probably going to break out higher and go significantly higher and lose even more of its position as global reserve status. So that's interesting on the yen. Looking at the Chinese currency, a lot of people think, oh, it's going to be strong, but it too is starting to waver, and it looks like it's ready for a breakout to the upside, which means, again, that's USD relative to the Chinese currency, and it's actually going to break out and probably go higher. Of course, that's all dollar positive. It's not dollar negative. Looking at the DXY, which is the composite, which is mostly euro and some of these other currencies we've been talking about, it's actually broke up higher, and it's coming off, and now I think it's going to actually resurge. I think there's a limit. It may get up back up to its old high at 120 on the what they call the Dixie, what's the dollar index, and then maybe come off and begin to fill out this wedge. Who knows where it goes from here? So we'll just take it a little bit at a time. But for now, the call is that it's going to go higher. In any case, take a look at the AI and what creates a currency that achieves a global reserve currency status from the AI. And take our online poll. Do you think the dollar is going to lose its hegemony and become not the king dollar, but the serfdom dollar in our poll? Interesting direction on where the global economies are going. And don't forget to subscribe.